Hi, everyone, and welcome to this information session of the WPI ECE BS program. My name is Alex Wiglinski. I'm a professor here in WPI ECE. And over the next several minutes, I'm going to be going through the BSMS program for ECE. I'm going to describe, first of all, what the motivation for doing the BSMS is. I'm also going to be describing a lot of the logistics behind the application process, as well as how to leverage to the maximum benefit the BSMS program in terms of courses to take, in terms of sequencing and scheduling and all that. And then some of the opportunities in order to, for instance, financially support your BSMS, right? Then I'm going to try and go through, there's like a long FAQ of questions that I just came off, like, on the top of my head, that over the past several years, a lot of you have asked regarding the BSMS program. All right. So really, there's quite a bit of information here. I'm hoping it's going to cover a lot of the questions that that many of you have asked, okay, or are having right now about this program, whether it's a good fit for your career development, your professional goals, if you will, right, professional growth, as well as if this also creates new questions and stuff to set things up such that you can email me, contact me, or anybody else in the ECE department about this program. All right. Okay. So first of all, why do the BSMS? Okay. So really, what the BSMS is designed to do is, I'm not sure how to describe it. Save you money, save you time. But of course, time is also money, so it saves you money. So what the BSMS does, it's a benefit specifically for BS students in the ECE department here at WPI. If you're outside of WPI and outside of ECE, this BSMS program is not available to you. It's only to our undergraduate WPI ECE students, period. Okay. But still doesn't answer why. Why would anybody want to do a BS degree? Oh, right after that, do an MS degree. Well, again, it comes to money. It comes to opportunities, okay? It comes to your professional development and growth. So how so? Well, what happens is, right now there's a multitude of employment opportunities for folks who graduate with a BS degree in ECE, right? On campus, our placement rate compared to other programs and stuff is pretty darn high, right? There are a lot of companies in this information age, this smart world, right? ECE is, as they say in French, le place d'honneur, the place of honor, right? We are the smart world profession. We are the smart world degree program, right? But with a BS degree, what are the most advanced courses that we have in BS? BS in ECE. Well, there's 4305, my software-defined radio class, 4703, real-time DSP, 4801, that's CompArc, 4802, that's cybersecurity. We have the 4902 and 4904, those are the analog and mixed signal design type of classes. And perhaps I'm missing one or two other 4,000 level courses. But you take them, you take this 1 7-week course, and that pretty much is kind of like the maximum limit in terms of an undergraduate course, okay, in our program, in terms of like level detail and depth about a specific topic, whether it's wireless communications, computer engineering or cybersecurity, or circuit design and such. But what happens is a graduate program really goes off into the deep end and goes very, very, like the amount of depth that's in a graduate program truly makes you, okay, an expert in a specific topic or maybe two topics. Like in terms of like the advanced knowledge that like the undergraduate program only provides kind of like an initial sort of offering of at the 4,000 level. So, okay. So the MS degree provides a lot of depth, a lot of like truly advanced knowledge that for the most part, our undergraduate program might temporarily address, or tangentially address, but not really go into a lot of detail, whereas the MS program does. And so how does it affect me? Well, in terms of those employment opportunities, right? Like it's one thing if you start off in an entry-level position in the company, but wouldn't it be cool to start off in a position or rapidly accelerate to a position that requires that sort of detailed in-depth knowledge of a particular topic, like wireless comms, like cybersecurity, like circuit design and all that jazz, right? So doing an MS degree provides you with a lot more depth than an undergrad degree, okay? And more, a lot of companies are actually seeking out those folks with an MS degree over just a BS degree. In fact, my personal experience from a lot of my academic advisees who have graduated from WPI with a BS degree, I would say a good number of them. I can't give a specific, 90%, 80%, 100%, but a good number of them within the span of 3 to 5 years always email me saying, "Professor, can I use you as a reference for this application for a grad program? I need to do an MS in ECE." What happens is, even if, let's say, you have a BS degree, you start working at a company, at some point you're going to realize, oh, shucks, I need more advanced knowledge in order to support my professional growth. So what happens is the MS degree is quickly becoming kind of the like, if you really want to jump into like the serious ECE type of stuff, that's like very intricate and detailed and requires a lot of depth, you really need to do an MS degree. BS gives you a starting point, but the MS really provides that sufficient depth to do advanced stuff, right? So, and what type of stuff? Applied research, prototyping, and also management of engineering teams. So with a BS degree, you might understand something generally, but an MS degree gives you a lot of depth, and it also gives you a lot of depth that you can also communicate that with other folks who are a part of your team. Perhaps you're leading them, and give them the insight that you have in order to successfully complete a project, right? So that's one, okay? The other thing is that there most definitely is a noticeable pay gap between someone who starts off with a BS degree and somebody who starts off with an MS degree. That's according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is actually $12K per year. Wow, okay, so that's quite a bit of money, $12K per year, right? So every 2 years, that's about, kind of a nice car that you can buy. Every 2 years, boop, 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 boop. You can buy a car using that. But imagine that money can be used to pay off your student loans. That could pay for a house. That could pay for, let's say, some investment, or your kid's tuition, like when you create a family and stuff like that. You know, so, but 12K is a non-negligible amount of money, especially if you have a career of 20 to 30 years. That's so just keep that in mind. Lastly, very important, is in situations where there is promotion. So let's say you want to go from just doing engineering work to leading teams in engineering. Having a more advanced degree than a BS degree definitely is a critical factor in terms of deciding between you and somebody who's also going after the same position, in terms of like, oh, does this person have MS? No. Does that person have an MS? Yes. And there's something to be said about, among other things, the level of maturity, okay, as well as, again, that in-depth knowledge that one degree, that additional degree, has over the other. All right? So really, the BS MS degree, or the pathway from your BS to the MS degree, okay, that MS degree could be a game changer on so many levels, but the bottom line is it supports your professional growth. It supports your advancement in your career, right? And along the way, you get more money, okay? And also enables you to sort of advance in terms of eventually not only doing engineering, but also things like leading, right? Leading technical teams and thereon after, right? So the only thing is, I'm talking about BSMS, but can't I just do an MS later? Well, okay, yeah, sure. You can get the BS degree, right? Then you can work a few years. I hear a lot of my academic advisees do that, right? And then they come back to school and they say, okay, yeah, I want to do an MS, either at WPI, which is awesome, or some other school. Okay, I give that to you, no problem, right? But the reason the BS-MS degree is, the BS-MS program is so attractive is because it saves you time. And by time, that also saves you money in a number of ways. So first of all, most people think BSMS is a single degree. Not true. BSMS program is 2 separate degrees, but those 2 degrees allow double counting between each other. So you know how, with respect to like, you know, BS degree, you have to have this many credits, you have to pay for all those credits, okay? And then you can graduate, right? And the MS degree, exactly the same thing. You got to complete all these credits, right? You got to pay for all those credits, and you get a degree. Of course, you have to pass, right? You have to get a minimum GPA, right? You need to successfully complete all these courses. Otherwise, you have to take them again, right? Things like that. But what the BSMS does is, instead of doing all of a BS degree, okay, and all the and have to pay full tuition across all those years in order to get that degree, and then pay all the tuition, okay, that's required of an MS degree right after that, what BSMS does is you get 2 degrees, but they're allowed to double count. And what do I mean? Well, what happens is, if you take a collection of 4,000 level courses in your undergraduate studies, and as well as, okay, so there's some rules which I'm going to describe next. In addition to some of those 4,000 level courses, you take also several graduate courses, right? So what happens is, and you count them towards your BS degree, and then you get admitted to the BSMS program. Some of those courses also count towards your MS degree. So what does that translate into? It means you fast track through your MS degree. You don't have to take, in this case, like for a MS degree in electrical and computer engineering, here at WPI, it's 30 credits. But what BSMS allows you to do is that it can allow you to double count up to 12 credits worth of MS coursework in your BS degree. So let's say you want to do BSMS, and you take a whole bunch of 4,000 level courses, and you take a bunch of 500 and 5,000 and 600 level courses, right? And you follow the rules of the ECE BSMS program. What ends up happening is you could double count up to 12. So subtract 12 credits out of 30 credits. What are you left with? 18 credits, right? 18, you have to complete 18 credits once you're done with the BS and you officially start the MS program, right? The MS degree, part of the BSMS program. And on average, our graduate students take 9 credits of coursework per semester. You do your MS degree in 1 year, rather than 1.5 to 2 years, like the standard MS degree does. So what? Okay, so first of all, you don't have to pay 12 credits worth of tuition. Awesome. You know, and I forgot how much tuition is. I think per credit, that's about, I forgot. I can't remember. But it's like, I would say on the order of like, you know what? I want to give the right answer. Otherwise, I don't want people like coming back and saying, like, you said this. So let's see, WPI institutional rates. So let's see. So tuition at WPI at the graduate level, it's different than an undergrad program. Nope. Shucks. It should say somewhere. Here we go. It's $15.66 a credit. All right. So if I double count as much as possible within the rules of the BSMS program, what do I have? So let's bring up the calculator, because, you know, math and I don't get along. So 566 times 12. So you save $18,792. That's not bad. Right? Remember I was talking about buying cars? So like that's probably the cost of a low-end car, but that's still your car. That's not like money you're paying extra for tuition credits that you didn't really need to take. Second thing, because you're finishing sooner, you start working sooner, you start making income sooner. And oh, by the way, you're also an MS student, MS graduate. So you got that pay bump over just a BS degree. So time is money and tuition is money. And so what this program does is saves you money. It saves you time. You jump into the workforce sooner. And as well as it provides you that additional, that MS degree with that technical depth that will help you attain your professional goals and your professional and career development and go after employment opportunities that require that level of technical detail, all right? So what happens is, this is the confusion though. So remember I said BS and MS are two different programs, right? Two separate degrees. BS-MS is not a degree. It is a program that that allows double counting between two degrees, the BS and the MS degrees, right? So how do you apply for BS-MS? Well, the way you apply for BS-MS is you're actually applying to grad school, right, for an MS degree, but very super duper important, you got to check the little box that says BS-MS. Otherwise, you're applying for the MS program, right? So very super duper important, when you're applying for the MS degree, make doubly sure you click BS-MS checkbox in order to be considered for part of the BS-MS program, all right? And then what happens is, if and when admitted to the BS-MS program, that now enables you, okay, and it sends a flag to the registrar saying like, hey, this person can actually double count undergraduate credit also for MS credit. Perfect. So you absolutely need to do that, right? So so again, like as I said here, please, 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 when you apply for the MS program, but check the box that says BS-MS in order to be considered for admission to the BS-MS program. All right. So again, advantage about doing BS-MS over regular MS, the double counting. The double counting saves you time. The double counting saves you money. Okay, so that means you get your MS degree sooner, and which means that you get that technical depth sooner, and you're applying it to the workforce and allows you to get to those opportunities sooner, and you save money. How can you go wrong, right? So now the next step is, how much can I double count? Again, I'm putting it here in like humongous letters, 12 credits. So folks are like saying, credit, is that like a unit? Yeah, okay. So undergraduate programs, right, degrees, all the BS degrees and stuff like that, we have the unit, right? 1/3 of a unit is usually for your undergraduate class. 1/6 is, I forgot, like, you know, let me think. 1/6 is like something like a PQP, right? And then you also have 1/12 if it's PE, things like that, right? So, so here, what happens is a credit, the way you map between a credit and a unit, because graduate school is all about credits, right? A typical grad course, with the exception of some courses in aerospace engineering, I think material science, and the business school, your typical grad course in WPI has 3 credits per course, right? So a 3-credit course, grad course, is equal to half a unit. So that's the conversion rate. It's almost like, you know, Canadian dollar versus US dollar, right? So like one Canadian dollar is about 67 to 70 cents US. So go figure. So here, 3 credits for a grad course is equal to half a unit. So, or the other way around, one undergraduate course, which is 1/3 of a unit typically, right, is equal to 2 credits at the graduate level. So that's going to be very, very super duper important for the following reason. So you are allowed, so the viewpoint of the BS-MS, when, in terms of that double counting, what are the restrictions, limits, how much can you take of this course versus that course, blah, 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 is all from the perspective of the graduate credit, okay? None of this is described in terms of units anymore. So when you do BS-MS and now saying, oh, okay, shucks, how do I start double counting? Like, do I have enough, blah, 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 blah. It's all from the perspective of credits, not units, okay? So heads up. So first of all, first restriction for the ECE BS-MS is that you are allowed up to 6 credits, okay? 6 credits of 4,000 level undergrad courses. So, what's the conversion again? That's equal to 3 undergraduate courses. So in this case, you're allowed up to a maximum of 3 4,000 level courses. Does not have to be ECE, okay? Could be BME, could be ME, could be anything, could be CS, but 4,000. Because the other thing is, it cannot be less than 4,000. Let's say it was an incredibly hard 3,000 level course. Doesn't count. It's got to be 4,000 level. On the other hand, if you've done an ISP, right, independent study project with a professor, and in the form when you register for it is classified as a 4,000 level ISP, that counts. That totally counts. So you could chalk that one up in terms of the double counting. So great. So you're allowed up to 3 4,000 level undergraduate courses in order to double count as part of this program. Great. And the other thing, very, very, very important, every one of those courses you need to double count or want to double count has to have a grade or B or better. And R's, no. C's, no. B or A only, all right? The other thing is people get kind of confused. It's like, oh, shucks, I can't apply for BSMS. I haven't taken all the classes yet that I want to double count. No, you don't have to worry about that, please. So like what happens is, it is totally understood that when you apply for the BSMS program, which means you're applying for an MS program and you check that little box that says BSMS, that you have not taken all the classes yet that you're going to double count. That's fine, because what happens is there's a separate form that will be sent to the registrar once you complete it that will give them a heads up of what you are planning to double count, like courses that you've already taken, as well as courses you will be taking until the end of your BS degree. So don't worry about that. But the thing is, in your mind, you're like, you have to really plan out what the rest of your BS degree looks like in order to figure out what you'll be double counting and what you will not be double counting and stuff like that. Now, very importantly is like the sooner you figure out that you're doing BSMS, you could be more strategic in your your tracking sheet, your ECE BS tracking sheet, so that you can maximally double count. If you can reach this 12 credit maximum, what was that number again? You're saving $18,792. And that's of like this year, that's this year's tuition rate. And, tuition rates, do they go down? Usually no. So very important. You're allowed a maximum of 3 undergraduate 4,000 level classes, not 3,000, not 2,000, not 1,000, has to be 4,000. You are also allowed as an undergraduate student to take grad courses. So here, what happens is you could take ECE grad courses at the 500, 5,000. Our course numbers make no sense at the graduate level. So a lot of courses have 3 digits and some have 4 digits. But if it begins with a 5 or begins with a 6, those are 500 and 5,000 are kind of like MS level type classes, and 600 is pretty advanced. That's like PhD level type classes, okay? But you're allowed to take them as an undergrad student. Yeah. So what happens is, remember again, 3 credits is for 1 grad course. Exceptions are, again, aerospace, material science, and business school. There might be some others. I'm not aware of them. If there are, my apologies if I haven't listed them. But heads up, in ECE, your typical grad course is 3 credits, right? Again, the grad courses you're taking in your undergrad program that you're counting towards your BS degree that you want to now double count to your MS degree as part of your BSMS, okay? Those grad courses, you must have a B or better, okay? No C's, no NRs, B or A. And again, just like with the undergrad course, you might have applied and be admitted to the BSMS program, but you haven't taken all the remaining grad courses you want to double count. No problem, totally allowed, right? You just need to indicate it in the sheet, the BSMS tracking sheet, after you've been admitted, to let the registrar know what you're going to be double counting. And with those courses, you can include MS thesis, You can include directed research. This is the graduate version of the ISP, as well as special topics classes. Okay, so 12 credits is a big deal. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of credit. So what are different ways that you can do this double counting? Well, first of all, suppose you do no 4,000 level, but you do just grad courses. Well, that's going to be equal to 4 grad courses, right? So if you take 4 grad courses, count them towards your BS program, you can double count through BSMS, those 4 courses to your MS. Just have to make sure they're B or better, and they're ECE. Now, you can do the double counting with 3 undergrad 4,000 level classes. Let's say you take 4305, 4703, and 4801, right? And you got B or better in them. And then you take 2 grad courses, let's say ECE 502 and ECE 504. Boom. You just have 12 credits that you can, first of all, they can count to your BS degree. And at the same time, you can double count them towards your MS degree. And again, you save $18,792, plus you save a good amount of time in terms of doing your MS degree. So that's awesome. So there are more restrictions. So what are those restrictions? So first of all, the courses that you're taking, this BSMS degree. So you're taking 4,000 level undergraduate courses, and you're taking 500, 5,000, 600 level ECE grad level courses. Well, first of all, you must ensure that all the courses that you're taking, right, satisfy your ECE BS requirements. So you cannot kind of take all these ECE grad courses, but not do your, your humanities requirement or your IQP. That's not going to work. So you got to kind of like say, I'm going to take all these classes and put your blinkers on and say, this will satisfy my BS degree in ECE in this way. And remember the conversion. An ECE grad course is 1/2, not 1/3 unit. So that's actually pretty cool, because instead of taking 3 classes, you just need to do 2 grad courses to get the equivalent amount of units. So awesome. In particular, one place that this comes up is in your ECE undergraduate course program, a portion of your tracking sheet, right? So, there's that part of the tracking sheet that's like, you have to list off all the ECE classes you're taking part of your degree, your BS degree, right? And it's like, and it's like 12 of these classes, and it's 12 third units. That's part of the requirement for your BS and ECE. And then at the top, they also list all the eligible courses, but if you notice, they don't put any grad courses, right? But very importantly, do not worry about that, because what happens is maybe it's like, oh, okay, the ECE 502 is not listed. But what happens is maybe the system will flag it. It will say, oh, 502, it's not listed in the 15, 16, 17 classes in that kind of like, sort of list of possible courses that can satisfy the 12 third units requirement for ECE undergrad. Not a problem, because what happens is usually when you apply for graduation, well, not usually, all the time when you apply for graduation, your tracking sheet, like, to see if you've met all the requirements for getting a BS degree in ECE, it undergoes review by the registrar. Registrar says, whoa, I see this grad course, this grad course, this grad course. It's not on that list. I don't know what to do. I'm going to flag it. But then it goes to the department. The department looks at it and says, yes, but it's ECE. It's just at the grad level, not at undergrad level. Of course, it's not going to be listed, but it's sufficient. We count it. So don't worry about that, right? The other, and then here's the other thing. When all those courses that you're double counting, you must make sure that it also satisfies the ECE MS degree requirements. So what happens is you're taking this bunch of courses, right, that you want to double count, right? And you need to make sure that in isolation for each individual degree, they satisfy the requirements. So it's like, so you're going to have to do a lot of planning to make sure that you're golden in both degrees, right? So very, 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 very important. Okay, so remember, so an ECE MS degree at WPI is 30 credits. Okay, 21 of those credits must be grad level WPI ECE courses, and that includes MS thesis. Okay, and then the 9 credits is the wild card credits, right? So they could also be ECE grad, they could be other grad engineering and science, like computer science, physics, mechanical engineering, whatever, and 4,000 level courses, but those 4,000 levels are restricted to 6 credits maximum, okay? So as long as you satisfy this, and there's actually a very much more detailed sort of description of the requirements, and for an ECE MS degree at WPI, definitely check this out. This is kind of like really a really quick summary. There's quite a few other things here, like for instance, grad seminar and some other things, right? But really what you need to do is just make sure that in both degree programs, you are satisfying like as though like, you know, you're double counting, you're just treating that in isolation. There is also another thing with respect to taking courses in your undergrad degree. So suppose you took a ridiculous amount of AP credit, like or you are one of the types of folks that are continuously like overloading by 1 or 2 or 3 classes every term. So you've compressed a 4-year degree in like 2.5 years. And you're like saying, oh, shucks, I'm running out of courses. So what happens is it is possible, it is very possible that you can do extra classes, even beyond your free electives, right? So let's say you do a bunch of, a few additional ECE grad level courses. All right, that's cool. And then those additional ECE grad level classes, they can carry forward to the MS portion of your BSMS. That's really neat. I didn't know that, but that's true. That's true. So what happens is you could double count, and then you can take these additional graduate level ECE classes. And what's nice is they're not counting to your BS, right? No degree has, so far your undergrad degree is not using any of them. So, but they can be used by your MS degree. So you have the double counting, so that's 12 credits. Let's say you do an additional 9 credits worth of ECE grad level courses. That carries forward to your MS. So now it's 12 and 9. Oh, shucks. All I need is 9 credits left. You could do an MS degree in a semester. Okay, that's 2 terms, right? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. WPI courses are done in 14-week semesters rather than 7-week terms. So how does it feel? It feels long compared to your 7-week terms. Okay, so just FYI. So there's another conversion rate thingy for you. All right. So how and when to apply? This is I love this question because I think right now the description I see in the grad catalog, if you go to the grad catalog, I think it's probably the best description I've seen to date, but it's still kind of like, okay, interesting. But this is what they write in the grad catalog. From the grad catalog, applications will not be considered if they are submitted prior to the second half of the applicant's junior year. Ideally, applications, including recommendations, should be completed by the early part of the last term of the junior year. So what it's basically saying is, don't bother applying to the BSMS degree program until the end of your junior year. And there's a number of reasons for it. The main thing is like, you know, you potentially you could apply to BSMS, which means you're applying for grad school. So you're applying for MS degree, but part of the BSMS program. So you'll be double counting a bunch of stuff. You could be doing that, you know, sophomore year and stuff, right? But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Like, how many 4,000 level courses have you taken in your sophomore year? How many 500 level or 5,000 or 600 level ECE grad courses have you taken in your sophomore year? Like, maybe you've taken some 2,000 level classes, probably a lot at that point, maybe a few 3,000, but you have not yet sort of demonstrated the level of maturity to be successful in an advanced class, either at a 4,000 level or at a grad level type class, right? So there's really no way to judge whether you would be a great fit, a great candidate, have the right mentality and skill set to succeed in the graduate program in ECE, like an MS in ECE here at WPI. So usually I recommend folks apply to the BSMS program when you've successfully completed with a grade or B or better your first 4,000 or 500 or 5,000 or 600 level course. Okay, very, 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 very important. Because what that does is it signals to the graduate application committee, the folks that are going to be reviewing your application, saying, I've done this, I got a B, maybe you got an A, maybe you got several A's because you've done several of these classes. And it's like, wow, okay, this person's already doing really well and with these advanced classes and is applying to our program. It makes for a more convincing argument why you should be admitted, okay? The other super duper really important part of the BSMS program in terms of application, do not wait a week before you complete your BS degree. Because what's going to happen is we don't, even though we usually review applications as they come in, we don't review them like within 3 or 5 days. You know, there's process, there's lags, there's delays, things like that. So what you really want to do is you want to give graduate application committee in the department time to review your application. So do not like wait until D term of your senior year to apply. So that's the other reason why it's recommended junior year or even like early senior year to apply to BSMS. Just make sure you have several of those advanced courses under your belt with B or better, okay? Do not delay until the very last minute. Don't procrastinate and apply, okay? And as for the 12 credits at the application, remember, you don't have to take all these classes you want to double count, okay? It's just to give a heads up to everyone saying, these are classes you either have taken, you're going to double count, plus these classes that you're going to take that you're planning to double count. And you apply via the WPI grad application portal here at gradapp.wpi.edu, apply. All right. So I know a lot of stuff and a lot of rules, a lot of requirements, a lot of like, you know, warnings and like, you know, timing this, but usually maybe like I was thinking about this, the best way to maybe explain, every case is different. Like everybody has like, you know, different sort of, you know, scenarios in terms of like, again, you might have been overloading ever since freshman year and you're like 1 semester away and you're a junior from graduating with your BS degree. Or you might have just found out about BSMS in your senior year and you're saying, shucks, I only took 1 4,000, maybe 2 4,000 level classes. So I'm not double counting all that much, but I still want to do BSMS because that's still money in my pocket. So, okay, sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through 3 use cases, okay, to kind of, you know, illustrate the flexibility of the BSMS program. Because you could tailor this to whatever your needs are, right? So 3 use cases. First of all, there's Jimmy, okay? And Jimmy, he's a junior in ECE and has some AP credit. So that means already has quite a bit of flexibility in his undergrad program. So great, that's awesome. And then after junior year, he has so much flexibility that all he needs to do is MQP. So he has to do 1 unit, okay, 1 unit of MQP and is done. And no PE credit, okay? I really can't stand it when somebody says, oh, I'm all done except my MQP, plus there's that pesky PE credit. Just do the PE, okay? Just get that thing over with, all right? Now, so Jimmy took 4305, great choice. That's an awesome 4,000 level class. He's also taken 4703, also pretty cool, and wants to take ECE 503, that's digital signal processing in the summer between the junior and senior year. And these he's hoping to count towards his BSMS degree. So what does his calendar look like? Okay, like in terms of like you know, the space, what sort of flexibility does he have? So this is, let's go through it. Let's go through this exercise. Okay. So, okay, so this is Jimmy. So Jimmy took ECE 4305, ECE 4703, and is going to take ECE So Jimmy received an A and an A for these two classes. There's no grade yet because Jimmy hasn't taken that class yet, right? So okay, so let's look at, like, Jimmy's a junior. So let's see. Shucks. So this is going to be taken summer. And that's the thing. Well, there are a lot of grad courses that are offered during the summer from WPI ECE. So definitely take advantage of those if you want to also, again, if you want to finish your ECE MS degree sooner, you can always do that. So let's say we have senior year, right? So that's A, B, C, D. Remember also that for grad school, there's only fall and there's spring semester. There's also summer too, okay? And for undergrad, that's E1, E2, okay? So fall, 14 weeks, and spring. Okay, so there's a number of things that Jimmy can do, right? So first of all, let's say in terms of applying, well, Jimmy can apply as soon as humanly possible because he's already completed this and he's already completed this. I'm guessing since, so 4703 is done in B term, he probably did in B term of his junior year, and he probably did 4305 in C term because that's when it's offered, probably also in his junior year. So C term of his junior year, so I would say right now he's in D term of junior year. Apply. And then in that form about the double counting and all that jazz, definitely list 4305, 4703. And even though he has not completed it, he can indicate that he's going to double count once it is completed with a grade of B or better, 503. Also in terms of credit count, 2 credits, 2 credits, 3 credits, right? So that tallies up to 7 credits out of 30, okay? So that means that Jimmy, once he enters the MS portion of his degree program, will need to do 23 credits. So that's about shucks, 3 semesters worth of courses, all right? So, okay, so here's fall of his senior year. And he said, okay, all he has left is his MQP. Well, what's one trick that Jimmy can do? Well, what he could do, right, is, like, you know, he could do like A, B, C, right? He could do that. Like Jimmy could do MQP, MQP, MQP. And he can also start taking grad courses. So Jimmy can take, I'm going to give an example here, ECE 502, and Jimmy can take ECE 504, right? 502 is probability, 504 is linear systems. And then in CD, what Jimmy can do is he can take 2 more grad courses, right? Maybe even 3. So Jimmy can take, let's say, ECE. So let's say Jimmy wants to do an MS thesis, right? So thesis is almost like an MQP, but it's for one person, okay? Or should be. So, so what he could do is something along the lines of, let's say he wants to take ECE 531, that's signal estimation and detection, and he starts off doing his thesis. So that's ECE 599. So that's MS thesis. So let's do a tally now. So that's 3 credits, that's 3 credits, that's 3 credits, that's 3 credits. So that's 12 credits in addition to the 7. So that's 19. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. So he has 11 to go, right? But here's the thing, like what he could do is Perhaps he can also do, at the same time, if he finds a professor that's interested in his work, he can also do a directed research, right? He could do ECE 598, right? And let's say it's something on a completely different topic. Let's say power systems. He really, really wanted to do something with solar power or something like that. He could do that, and he can take 2 credits. And why would Jimmy do that? Well, it's this annoying thing here, right? So if you do the tally, so at the end of the day, what's Jimmy's tally for his MS? Well, he would have done ECE 4305, 2 credits. ECE 4703, 2 credits. ECE, shucks, 503, 3 credits. 502, 3 credits. 504, 3 credits. 531, 3 credits. So an MS thesis is a minimum of 9 credits. Okay, so let's do the tabulation. So that's 4, that's 9, that's 12, and that's that. So that's 9. So if we add it up, that's going to be 21, 25. Okay, 25 so far. So now Jimmy needs to make up the difference to get to 30. Here's the problem. Here is the problem. Typical grad course is 3 credits, right? So unless Jimmy doesn't mind wasting a credit, right, he would have to take, so Jimmy would have to take 2 grad courses, ECE grad courses, to get the 30, and one credit would not be used. Not a very elegant solution. On the other hand, if let's say Jimmy says, oh, okay, I'm going to do, a directed research. So that's ECE. Remember, these are ECE. I do ECE 598, and 2 credits, plus, let's say Jimmy absolutely loves wireless communications and does 5312. That's modern digital communications. That's 3 credits. Got the 30, right? So then Jimmy's in good shape. Oh, by the way, he would also need to take seminar, ECE, what is it, 596. There's an A, which is the fall offering, and B, and that's 0 credits. So you don't pay anything, but it's a great experience because what happens is you are required, but heck, these are great opportunities. So why would you even need to be required? It's such a great experience. Attend seminars, okay, by world experts in various ECE topics, all right? But it is a requirement, so that's a pass-fail course, and you need to complete 1. Conventional MS student needs to complete 2. All right. Now, so in this case, so Jimmy has all these things, right? Now, so some tricks that Jimmy can do. So first of all, let's say he does a directed research. Okay, awesome sauce. So he could either go into the fall semester of his grad year, right? And then he would take, what was it again? ECE 599, so that's thesis. He could do, so let's look at the tally. He wants to do digital communications. Shucks, yep. So for instance, yeah, he could do 6 credits of that. And he can do, let's say, modern digital communications is offered then. So what do we have? So 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 21, and then don't forget seminar. Now, one very, very important thing is when you're admitted to the MS program, you're either admitted, okay, this is actually quite huge. You have to be admitted either at the beginning of the fall or beginning of the spring semester. You cannot be admitted at the beginning of the summer semester. It doesn't work like that, right? So where does Jimmy finish his undergrad degree? Well, looking at this, and again, this is why don't save PE till the end, because it becomes a big source of heartburn. Jimmy finishes his MQP in the spring semester, but that means Jimmy can't start his MS degree at the beginning of the spring semester. And here's the summer, right? Here's summer. So he can't start there. Jimmy would need to officially say, I'm done with my BS degree at the end of the spring semester, and start the MS degree, officially start at the beginning of the fall semester, and then complete his MS degree at the end of the fall semester. That's cool. That is totally cool. 1 semester MS degrees, totally doable. I had a lot of advisees who's done that. Now, you could be sneakier. You could be way sneakier. So let me show you how you can be, same sort of courses, maybe, depends. But what you could do is the following. So that's A, B, C, D, fall, spring, summer, right? And let's cut like that. So what you could also do is you could do MQP, 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 all right? And it's like, oh, wow. But you can do that. And the reason is you can declare graduation here for your BS and start your MS there as well. So you can start in spring, right? So you start 1 academic semester sooner. So now it's senior and then MS. Now, remember that ISP, that 2-credit ISP, the directed research? You can officially start it here, but front load the work, right? So ECE 598, make it 2 credits, and perhaps there's a course you want to take there. So let's say we do ECE 502 because everybody loves probability. And then in your spring semester, you're officially a grad student. So what you could potentially do is the following. So you could take ECE 531. You can take thesis. So what's that, 599? 1 more grad level course. I am trying to think. I'm gonna XYZ. Perhaps there's 1 more. Plus you can take seminar, ECE 596B. Okay, so great. So let's tally this so far. There might also be some sort of like other cool course happening there. Like let's say there was an awesome offering of modern digital communications there. Okay, so we know that you have 7 credits. Jimmy has 7 credits. So then let's tally this: 10, 13. No, sorry, directed research. So it's not 10, it's 9. Oh, sorry about that. So it's 2. So it's going to be 5, right? 11, and then with 7. And that's, yikes. Careful. Seminar doesn't have any credits. That's why I'm trying not to goof. So that's 9, and that's 5. So 14, 14 and 7. What's that? 14 and 7, 21. All right. So now it's like, okay, I got 21 credits. How many more credits do I need? I need 9 credits. So shucks, I still have to go back to school for fall. No. You can do thesis, the bulk of your thesis here. 599, put 6 credits. And you can also do ECE. There's usually an offering of 504. And you're done at the end of summer. It's very specific when you can start your MS degree, but in terms of completing, you can complete it at the end of summer. You can complete it end of spring, you can complete it end of fall. But that's quite nice, because now what happens is Jimmy can actually finish his BSMS, everything, in 4 years plus a summer. Not bad. Of course, highly do not recommend also working full-time unless, so here's one of the tricks. Usually a lot of companies are very willing, especially if they, as like, you know, part of the professional development of their future employees, will cover your tuition costs if you pursue an MS degree. Sometimes they give like a fixed allowance, sometimes it's by the number of courses. That's something you got to work out with your company that you want to work with, right? But definitely take advantage of any employee assistance programs that allow them to support you for your graduate studies, so you don't have to pay a single cent out of your own pocket to do your MS degree, right? And usually in return, these companies will say, well, you have to work several years for us, since we covered you for 1 or 1.5 years. All right. But this is a case where Jimmy, with a little bit of careful planning, was able to rearrange his schedule in order to fit everything within 4 years plus a summer. Okay. So yeah, that took a long time. but very important. You can see how things can be tailored per person. So the next person is Julia. Okay. So Julia is an ECE major as well. She's a junior. She does not have the same sort of flexibility as Jimmy did, right? So but she has space for a grad course or 2, right? And she hasn't done any 4,000 level courses yet, right? So that's kind of, so let's say we're in D term. Let's make the assumption we're in D term. So she hasn't completed a 4,000 level class, right? So what would Julia's senior year look like, and when should she apply, and all that? So let's do her schedule. So this is what it would look like for Julia. So Julia's senior year. Okay, so that's A, B, C, D. Okay, and then here is grad. So let's say there's MQP again. So let's say these are undergrad courses and they don't count. Perhaps Julia, so grad course or 2. So let's say hypothetically, she can take in her spring semester 2 grad courses. Okay, so let's say she takes ECE 503. Okay, I'm trying to think what else is offered. Let me see. Yeah, because that's the thing. I want to make sure. Schneikes. I can't see it. Ah, here we go. Here we go. So shucks. Not that many in the spring. There looks like, so let's say Julia can take ECE 503, and suppose that she also takes, See, this is academic advising in action. Schneikes. I'm going to put down I don't know. There was actually, so let's say Julia also, in addition to taking 503, takes, yeah, how about high performance networks? I know, I think I'm overthinking this. There's also special topics classes. So like, I'm just looking at saying, hey, what else can fit here? Because of like, sometimes there's prerequisites, some courses are recommended over others and such. But let's say Julia takes 530, right? That's high performance networks. So, okay. And then let's say that's the humanities requirement or some humanities, as well as a PE course or two. I'm like, no PE courses. All right. So here, so first of all, where would Julia, well, this is kind of a little bit of a problem, right? Because the first thing is, where would Julia apply for BSMS? Well, it's kind of tricky because she's the only advanced courses she's taking is in the spring semester of her senior year. So, you know, she could follow the rule of like what is in the catalog and apply at the end of the junior year, or she can apply during the fall of her senior year, but she hasn't taken any of the grad level courses yet until, you know, spring of her senior year. So, so that makes it tricky. On the other hand, so here's one thing. Suppose Julia also did a BME 4,000 level course. Excuse me, and got a grade of A. That works. So in that case, she can apply there in B term. And that again, like, you know, this is a rule of thumb, but every little bit helps in terms of justifying to the grad committee saying, hey, I can do this, right? All right. So now she applies. Obviously, she will be done at the end of her senior year. So this is when she graduates. And she'll start right after. And that's the other thing. You can't have any breaks between your BS and your MS degrees. So summer, fine, but not more than a summer, right? So now, how much can you double count? Well, there's 2 credits there, 3 credits there if she gets a B or better, 3 credits there if she gets a B or better. So in this case, she has 8 credits that she's already double counting. Excellent. So now she starts taking other classes, right? Let's say she doesn't want to do a thesis. So typical grad level loading is this, is three 3-credit courses a semester. So she'll take ECE 502, 504, and let's say she does 506, which is kind of weird, again, because 530 is high performance networks and 506 is like local area networks. But so what happens is 8 credits, and then there's 9, right? So that's 17 credits. She takes several more classes. Somewhere here, let's say here, she takes seminar, 596A, and then she takes more ECE 5,000, 500, 600 level courses. So 8, 9, so that's 17, 17, 20, 26. Now she has a pesky 4 credits left that she needs to complete. Perhaps she does a directed research over the summer, right? Or saves it to the fall semester. That case, what happens is a directed research, okay? You can take between 1 and 6 credits. So as long as there's a professor on a topic that is mutually of interest between the 2 of them, the professor can advise her and she can do something over the summer, complete it, demonstrate it, done deal, right? She can do that. Let's suppose that Julia, on the other hand, needs to work, right? Like full time. Taking 3 grad courses a semester could be a little bit challenging, right? So it is allowed, BSMS allows you to go step it down from 9 credits a semester to 6 credits a semester. So what this would look like, right, is let's look at her grad year. Grad 1, grad 2. I'm going to not put A, B, C, D. Okay, so I said she would do 3 classes here plus seminar, but now let's step it down to 2 classes. 50, 502, 504. Let's say there's a couple of grad courses here. So that's 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, 3, 3. So what has happened is like now we're going into, well, it looks like we have like 3 semesters. Perhaps also Julia does an additional course or 2 over the summer, or she does that directed research we talked about. But what happens is the BSMS requires that you do a minimum of 6 credits per academic semester. Summers is like, you know, up to you, but if in this case, it's great to take advantage of it. So let's say in summer, she does 4 credits again of like directed research. She can actually finish, well, 1 academic semester later, right? But you might say, okay, so what? Like, you know, that's almost as long as a typical MS degree. Yes, but this is with double counting. If you did this with a typical MS degree, what happens is everything stretches out. I mentioned about time equals money. Even if you're working full time, first of all, you're being paid at the level of a BS degree, right? Once you get that MS degree, a lot of companies require you to provide proof from the registrar that you've at least satisfied all the requirements of an MS degree and will be conferred that degree at the next commencement. And then when you give them that proof, they'll start paying you at the MS level. I mean, it's that serious. A lot of folks go to the registrar requesting that letter because usually graduation and the degrees get conferred in May, right? So this is very important. So, and then the other thing is you just have grad courses. Grad courses are offered always at night, right? But now you have this thing where you work all during the day and, oh, shucks, I have a grad course. They're offered usually at night, once a night per week, 3 hours long, and then you have homework, right? And that's good, but that's also, you know, quite demanding, right? So again, the sooner you get your degree, first of all, quality of life is a little bit better because you don't have to worry about homework anymore and courses and such. And at the same time, what happens is you start earning money at an MS level rather than a BS level, right? So this is another case with respect to Julia and how she would do it, right? And again, what happens is a lot of employers will say, "Oh, you're taking 2 courses a semester. We'll cover that in return for X number of years that you have to be with the company in order to keep that reimbursement." So what they'll do is usually it's by reimbursement process. So you take the classes, you get a grade of B or better, you showed the transcript with that grade to your employer, and they reimburse you for tuition that you paid, right? And as long as you do that and you keep on going, and there's probably limits on how many courses you can take a semester, but take full advantage of these type of employee benefits in order to cover your MS degree. Okay, now last case is Emma. Okay, so she's a senior, she accepted a job, has only space in her calendar for a grad course, and she's only taken 4801 in her junior year, okay? And this is actually just like what I just said regarding Julia. So I'm not gonna sort of dwell on this a little bit too much. But what happens is more and more companies are doing this, which is they'll cover your tuition, usually by reimbursement. So you get reimbursed once you complete the course with a grade or B or better, right? And then in return for that reimbursement, you sign a document, legal document, that you will work for them for X number of years in order in order for this in order for everyone to be fair and square, and because otherwise, imagine they reimburse you. This is money on the part of the company, and then you run off, right after you're done with your degree. Company's going to be pretty upset. So this is their way of them benefiting from your training, your professional development. So everyone wins. So this is exactly the case that I just drew with Julia. What happens is you can't work less on your MS degree, less than 6 credits a semester, right? And what happens is BSMS, there are some time constraints. Like what is the how long should your MS of your BSMS take? But that's if you maximally double count. If you don't maximally double count, in the case of Emma, right? So Emma just took one 4,000 level course, and she's going to take a 500 level course. So she's not taking advantage of all the 12 credits. So what happens is that requirement kicks in with the 6 credits minimum per semester until completion. And let's suppose your last semester is only 3 credits, not a problem. Just that last semester, usually it's like, if you only have less than 6 credits, but your final set of credits, you can't just string things along and say, well, I'm only going to do 2 out of the 4 credits, blah, blah, blah. No, whatever's the difference at the end, right? So it's 6 credits, 6 credits, 6 credits, and then you have some difference. You got to complete the difference in your very last semester. Okay, so that's what would happen with Emma. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the FAQ, frequently asked questions about the BSMS program for WPI ECE. So first of all, can you pursue an MS thesis as part of the MS portion of your BSMS? Absolutely yes. Almost all my MS students with MS theses were almost all BSMS students. So what does that mean? So instead of taking 1.5 to 2 years of an MS, in 1 year, they do everything, including the MS thesis. So just have to make sure that you and your advisor are on the same page, and from the get-go, you don't waste any time in terms of doing your MS thesis. Okay? Can I be financially sponsored during the MS portion of the BSMS? No, for getting a teaching assistantship. That by policy at WPI is reserved for PhD students, but you can be sponsored by something called a research assistantship, which is usually external sponsorship from a company who wants to do research with WPI. And that's how I supported almost all my BSMS students, through a mechanism like that. So you can be funded, not only your tuition, but you also get a stipend. So hey, money and more money. So awesome. So, but of course, the thing is, the faculty advisor, who is the principal investigator of that external sponsorship, will determine if you should receive funding through that RA. So again, you got to talk with the advisor. Can my undergrad scholarships cover the MS portion of my BSMS? Depends on the conditions. Generally no, but timing could help. And how so? So some scholarships are, we will cover 4 years of your undergraduate studies, but actually let me be more specific. We will cover 4 years where each year you are declared as an undergraduate student. Now, you saw there were several cases where Jimmy, well, actually, I think it was Jimmy's case, right? Where Jimmy declared graduation in the middle of his senior year and started graduate studies afterwards, right? Well, that difference, right, the spring portion, C and D term of the senior year, theoretically, he could be supported by such scholarships from his undergrad degree. Now, the thing is, you absolutely have to double check with WPI Financial Aid or scholarship folks or whoever manages that, just to make sure that that is the case. But from what I've seen in a lot of instances, usually the way the scholarships are written is like, it's like, what are you at the beginning of every one of those 4 years? Not halfway through or at the end. Like if there is language that says you have to be an undergraduate student through and through that entire year, yeah, then no, your MS portion will not be covered. But if there's language that just says at the beginning of each year, you need to be an undergrad degree, and you start your MS degree in the middle of, let's say, your fourth year, then potentially that could help. Can I take more grad courses during my BS studies and have them count towards my MS for the BS-MS program? Yes. Oh yeah, and if, it's not a typo. This is shorthand for if and only if they are not counted towards your BS degree. So these truly have to be extra in addition, like these not even counting as free electives. These are like really, really super duper extra classes, okay? That don't count for anything as part of your BS degree. When should I apply for BS? Okay, so like the catalog says, the grad catalog says somewhere near the end of your junior year. I usually emphasize that you should have done at least successfully with a grade of B or better, a 4,000 level course or 500 level class or a 600 level class or 5,000 level class. But you have to, like very importantly, you should apply with enough time that your application's processed so that there's no gap between your BS and MS degree, because there cannot be one, all right? Okay. Do companies look at MS degrees resulting from BS-MS differently than regular? Absolutely not. It is the exact same MS degree. Remember, BS-MS is a program, it is not a degree, right? You don't get a diploma that says BS-MS. BS-MS is just how the double counting works, okay? And it's exclusively only for ECE undergrads, the ECE BS-MS program. Can I pursue the MS portion of my BS-MS while working full-time at a company? Yes, absolutely. Just remember to register for 6 credits per academic semester. Can a company cover the costs of the MS portion of my BS-MS degree while I work for them? Very super duper big yes. Lots of companies do that through HR, through their employees assistant programs that cover tuition costs. Can I double count 4,000 level classes other than ECE? Yes, that is also gold. Yep, you can do that. Is there an equivalent program for MEng, Masters of Engineering in ECE, or a Masters of Engineering in Power Systems Engineering? No, no. This is only for an MS in ECE. Do I need to finish my BS and MS at the same time? So, very important. Your MS, you can only get admitted, you can only start your MS degree once you've successfully completed your BS degree. So theoretically, so you cannot start your MS degree until you've completed your BS degree, right? So how does that work? So what that means is if you do your BS degree and then you finish your BS degree, you have to start your MS degree, which means that you have to have a non-negligible amount of time for your MS degree, courses and stuff. You cannot have like BS degree, oh, an MS degree at the same time. You have to, there needs to be at least a semester's worth of work, right? It could even be one class. It doesn't matter. But like you have to finish your BS before you can start your MS. And then your MS, you have to declare graduation at some time. And it cannot be at the time that you started it, okay? It's not infinitesimally narrow. It's like, it's not zero width, zero time span, your MS degree. Can I have a gap between my BS and MS? No. So if you have something longer than a summer, then you're automatically put into just a conventional MS. You cannot double count anything, and you have to do 30 credits worth of coursework. So you're not kicked out of the grad program. It's just that you're no longer part of BS-MS, and therefore you can't do any of the double counting. And that means longer and more courses taken, all that jazz. All right. So that concludes this presentation. I know it took a long time. I had to really work through some of those use cases, but I think it's important just to get an idea of like, kind of like how can you tailor the BS-MS program to your professional needs, your goals in your career and growth, right? But if you have any other questions and such, I can be reached at alexw@wpi.edu. So again, if you have any questions, comments, want to talk more about this with me, feel free to drop me an email, all right? So with that, thank you again for attending this information session or presentation on the ECE BS-MS program.